The wind howled through the mountain pass, a mournful cry that echoed across the frozen landscape. Snow fell in thick sheets, obscuring the path and swallowing the world in a blanket of white. The air was bitterly cold, biting at exposed skin and chilling the very marrow. It was the kind of night where even the bravest souls sought shelter, fearing the icy grip of winter. But amidst the fury of the blizzard, a figure stirred. Tall and slender, she moved with an ethereal grace, her white kimono blending seamlessly with the swirling snow. Her skin was pale as the moonlight, her hair a cascade of raven black, and her eyes, oh her eyes burned with an icy fire, a haunting blue that seemed to pierce the very soul. This was Yuki-Onna, the snow woman, a creature of legend whispered about in hushed tones around winter fires. She was a being of the cold, born of the winter storms and the biting winds. Some said she was the spirit of a woman lost in the snow, her heart frozen in a moment of despair. Others claimed she was a vengeful spirit, preying on lost travelers and punishing those who dared to venture into her domain. Whatever the truth, her presence brought a chill to the air, a sense of dread that clung to the falling snow. Her motives were a mystery, her actions unpredictable. She was seen as both beautiful and terrifying, a creature of both sorrow and wrath. And tonight, she walked the mountain pass, her presence felt in the whisper of the wind and the sting of the falling snow. Legends of the Yuki-Onna were as varied as the snowflakes that fell from the sky. Some whispered of her as a vengeful spirit, punishing those who had wronged her in life. Others told of a sorrowful being, forever mourning a lost love. But all agreed on one thing: to meet the Yuki-Onna was to walk a perilous path, a dance with death in the frozen wilderness. Travelers spoke of encountering her on snowy nights, her pale form shimmering in the moonlight, her voice a haunting melody on the wind. She would appear as a beautiful woman, offering aid to lost travelers only to lead them astray, deeper into the icy grip of the mountains. Many a soul had vanished into the blizzards, their cries swallowed by the wind, their fate a chilling reminder of the Yuki-Onna's power. But there were other tales, stories of compassion and mercy. Some whispered of her sparing those who showed kindness, offering them safe passage through the storms. It was said that she was drawn to innocence, to the purity of a gentle heart. These tales offered a glimmer of hope, a suggestion that even in the coldest of hearts, a spark of warmth might remain. The truth of the Yuki-Onna remained shrouded in mystery, a puzzle woven into the fabric of winter folklore. Was she a demon, a spirit, or something else entirely? Perhaps the answer lay not in the stories told, but in the heart of the blizzard itself. Minakichi, a young woodcutter, found himself caught in a sudden blizzard. The wind howled around him, tearing at his thin clothes, the snow blinding his vision. He stumbled through the drifts, his legs heavy with exhaustion, his hope dwindling with every gust of wind. He knew that if he didn't find shelter soon, he would succumb to the cold. Just as despair began to grip his heart, he saw a flicker of light in the distance. With renewed determination, he surged forward, his frozen fingers grasping for any sign of warmth. As he approached, he realized the light came from a small hut, nestled amongst the snow-laden trees. With a surge of relief, he stumbled towards the door, pounding on it with numb fingers. The door creaked open, revealing a young woman of breathtaking beauty. Her skin was as white as the snowdrifts, her hair as black as the raven's wing, and her eyes, like shimmering sapphires, held a strange intensity. She wore a simple white kimono, her figure radiating an otherworldly grace. Minokichi felt a strange mix of awe and fear as he gazed upon her. "Come in," she said, her voice soft and melodious, yet with an underlying chill that sent shivers down his spine. "You must be freezing." Minokichi hesitated, feeling a primal instinct warning him away, yet the lure of warmth and the mesmerizing gaze of the woman drew him in. He stepped across the threshold, unaware that he had entered a realm of legend and icy peril. The young woman, introducing herself as Oyuki, welcomed Minokichi with a gentle smile. She ushered him to the hearth where a crackling fire roared, casting dancing shadows across the small hut. She offered him warm sake and a thick blanket, tending to him with a care that soothed his frozen limbs and weary spirit. As warmth returned to his body, Minokichi found himself drawn to Oyuki's enigmatic presence. Her every movement was graceful, her voice as soothing as the winter wind. They spoke of the storm, of the harshness of the mountain, and of the simple joys of life in the face of adversity. As the hours passed, Minokichi felt an inexplicable connection to Oyuki, a sense of kinship that transcended the strangeness of their meeting. He sensed a deep sadness within her, a sorrow that chilled the very air around them. Yet there was also a kindness in her eyes, a gentle warmth that belied the icy aura that surrounded her. She spoke of the beauty of the snow, of the purity of the winter landscape, and of the delicate balance of life and death in the natural world. Her words were like snowflakes, each one unique, each one carrying a hint of the mystery that she embodied. Minokichi, captivated by her beauty and intrigued by her enigmatic nature, felt his fear melt away, replaced by a growing fascination with the woman who had rescued him from the blizzard's fury. As the night deepened, he realized that he had stumbled into a tale spun from myth and legend, a chilling encounter with the legendary Yuki-Onna. As dawn approached, Oyuki's demeanor shifted. A melancholic shadow fell over her features, and her sapphire eyes glinted with a strange sadness. She confessed to Minokichi her true nature, revealing that she was indeed the Yuki-Onna, the spirit of the snow. She explained that she had been drawn to his kindness, his pure heart, and had chosen to spare him from the fate that befell so many who crossed her path. However, her mercy came with a price. Oyuki made Minokichi swear a solemn oath, a promise that would bind him to secrecy. He was forbidden from ever speaking of their encounter, of her existence, or of the events that transpired within the snowy hut. To break this oath, she warned, would bring dire consequences not only upon him, but upon those he held dear. Minokichi, shaken by the revelation but bound by the enchantment of her presence, readily agreed to her terms. He understood the gravity of his promise, the weight of the secret he now carried. As the first rays of dawn pierced through the snowdrifts, Oyuki led him out of the hut, guiding him back to the familiar path. With a final lingering gaze that sent shivers down his spine, she vanished into the swirling snow, leaving Minokichi alone in the cold light of day, forever marked by his encounter with the mythical Yuki-Onna. Years passed, and Minokichi remained true to his oath. He spoke nothing of his encounter with Oyuki, the memory of their shared night locked away in the deepest chambers of his heart. He lived a simple life, marrying a village girl named Oyuki, a name chosen perhaps subconsciously, a whisper of his past echoing in his present. They had children, a bustling household filled with the warmth of family and the comfort of routine. Yet even in the midst of domesticity, the memory of Oyuki lingered. On snowy nights when the wind howled outside his window, he would imagine her presence, her icy breath mingling with the gusts, her haunting eyes gazing at him through the swirling flakes. He never forgot the chill of her touch, the strange mix of fear and longing that she evoked within him. He wondered if she watched over him, if she knew of his life, his family. He felt a strange sense of responsibility, a need to honor the promise he had made, not only for his safety, but for the sake of the woman who had spared him from the blizzard's wrath. He lived his life with a quiet reverence for the natural world, for the power of the winter storms, and for the enduring mystery of the Yuki-Onna. Though he never saw her again, her presence lingered in the shadows, a constant reminder of the night he had encountered the legendary Snow Woman and the oath that bound him to her icy embrace. He knew that their paths had crossed for a reason, a fleeting intersection of the mortal and the mythical, a tale woven into the fabric of his life, forever altering his perception of the world around him. One evening, as Minokichi sat by the hearth, mending a fishing net, his wife, Oyuki, watched him with a curious gaze. She had noticed his distant stare, the melancholic shadow that sometimes crossed his features, especially on nights when the winter winds howled outside their door. She had always sensed a hidden depth in him, a story left untold, a secret locked away in the depths of his heart. "Minokichi," she said softly, her voice breaking the silence of the room. "What troubles you so? Is there something you wish to share?" He looked up, startled by her question, his eyes meeting hers for a moment before he quickly glanced away, a flicker of fear crossing his features. He knew he could never reveal the truth, the weight of his oath pressing down upon him with an icy grip. Instead, he offered a vague response, speaking of the harshness of the winter, of the memories it evoked of difficult times in his past. Oyuki, though sensing his evasion, did not press further. She had learned to respect his silences, the unspoken stories that seemed to linger in the air around him. She loved him deeply, but she understood that there were parts of him that would forever remain shrouded in mystery, hidden behind a veil of snow and silence. That night, as Minokichi lay beside his sleeping wife, he dreamt of Oyuki, He saw her again in his mind's eye, her pale face illuminated by the moonlight, her blue eyes burning with a cold fire. He felt the chill of her touch, the whisper of her voice on the wind. He realized that though years had passed, his encounter with the Yuki-Onna had left an indelible mark on his soul, a love frozen in time, a chilling reminder of the power of myth and the enduring allure of the unknown. As the years turned into decades, the legend of the Yuki-Onna continued to echo through the mountain villages. Travelers whispered tales of her sightings, of her haunting presence in the blizzards, of her icy gaze that pierced the soul. Some dismissed these stories as mere superstition, the product of overactive imaginations fueled by the fear of the unknown. Others, however, believed. They spoke of the Yuki-Onna with a mixture of awe and dread, recognizing the power of the ancient myths that shaped their lives. They understood that the mountains held secrets, that the winter winds carried whispers of another realm, where spirits walked and legends were born. Minokichi, now an old man, listened to these stories with a knowing silence. He had seen the truth with his own eyes, had felt the chill of her touch on his skin. He understood the power of belief, the way that stories could shape reality, blurring the lines between myth and experience. He knew that the Yuki-Onna was more than just a legend. She was a force of nature, an embodiment of the winter's embrace. He had carried her secret for a lifetime, the weight of his oath a constant companion. He had lived a good life, a life filled with love and family, but the memory of Oyuki lingered, a haunting reminder of the night he had crossed paths with the mythical snow woman. One snowy evening, as Minokichi lay on his deathbed surrounded by his children and grandchildren, he felt a familiar chill in the air. The wind howled outside his window and the room seemed to grow colder, the shadows deepening as if a cloud had passed over the moon. He knew, with a certainty that transcended his failing senses, that Oyuki had returned. She stood at the foot of his bed, her form shimmering with an ethereal glow, her blue eyes piercing the darkness with their icy fire. She looked at him with a mixture of sadness and gratitude, acknowledging the life he had lived, the oath he had kept. She reached out, her hand as cold as the winter wind, and gently caressed his cheek. "You kept your promise, Minokichi," she whispered, her voice a haunting melody that seemed to weave through the very fabric of his being. "You honored our encounter, and for that, I am grateful." He gazed up at her, his eyes filled with a lifetime of memories, the chill of her touch reawakening the emotions he had long suppressed. He realized that, in a way, he had always been waiting for this moment, for the circle to be complete. As his life ebbed away, he felt a strange sense of peace, a release from the burden of his secret. The Yuki-Onna leaned down, her lips brushing against his forehead in a final icy kiss. And then, with a whisper of wind and a flurry of snowflakes, she vanished into the night, leaving behind a lingering chill and the echo of a legend that would forever be etched in the heart of the mountains. Minokichi's family, gathered around his bedside, witnessed the strange events of his final moments with a mixture of awe and fear. They had heard the whispers of the Yuki-Onna, the legends passed down through generations, but to see her presence so vividly, to feel the chill of her touch in the air, was an experience that shook them to their core. They understood that their father had carried a secret, a burden that he had borne with silence and dignity. Now, in the final moments of his life, that secret had been revealed, the veil lifted, exposing the mythical realm that existed alongside their own. The story of Minokichi's encounter with the Yuki-Onna became a tale whispered around the village fires, a chilling reminder of the power of the mountains and the enduring presence of the supernatural. It served as a cautionary tale, a reminder to respect the forces of nature and to honor the ancient myths that shaped their lives. And so, the legend of the Yuki-Onna endured, passed down through generations, a haunting tale of beauty and terror, of love and loss, a chilling reminder that even in the coldest of hearts, a spark of humanity might remain. She continued to wander the snowy peaks, her presence felt in the whisper of the wind, her gaze lingering in the swirling snowflakes, a timeless symbol of the mystery and the enduring allure of the unknown.